There's been a lot that has happened over the course of the last couple of weeks, and some of the things have stayed the same. So I want to dive into a very shortened version for the shortened holiday week as we look into all the things that are changing with respect to the overall risk management and the economy. So let's start with the economic and stock market risks. Now, what we're seeing here is the fact that actually there's been a lot of inflation worries that are starting to crop up. And some of the things that have been working recently to counteract inflation have been sold off just because of the fact that there's a lot of hedge funds that are having some huge issues and they're really liquidating their entire books. So now what we're talking about here is billions and billions of dollars of selling that's coming online as they're trying to just right the ship, so to speak, in their own personal accounts. So that is something that is not really unique, but the fact is that that's just kind of the under the surface type things that are happening right now. But when we take a look at it, inflation is here, and the biggest telltale sign are bonds, and especially bond yields. If bond yields are going up, well then that usually is an indication that stocks will go down in price. So when that happens, not always though, but when that happens, there are a lot of elements not only here in the US, but around the world that may not work the way they should. As bond yields start to soften, as they start to at least not go up nearly as much, then you start to see a lot of these different ways that stocks can start to work well. So yes, there is some risk that's out there, but it's related to bond yields. And if we look at where bond yields are going, we can actually start to look at where the overall economy may be headed as well. And that is what we've been seeing happen, that kind of just under the surface rising of inflation that lifts bond yields. Now, when we come to the portfolio, the second element here, what we're starting to see then is that there are many different elements that are and should be working. So there's really no changes to that. But now is the time that you'll start to see maybe we start to lighten up on the number of positions that we have. So some of the investments that we've been working with will be removed. And just in this period of volatility, that's now when we can start to say, let's be careful right now so that we can be there to invest, hopefully in another week, 2 weeks, a month. And we don't know exactly when this period of time is ended, but what we do know is that there's going to be some great opportunities, especially with what we're doing with a lot of the mining, a lot of the commodities, and the metals. Those are going to be great elements as what we call alternative investments. Now, what that means ultimately then, as it comes down to some of the planning that we're doing with all the wealth planning, there are different elements that we can be working through to make sure we mitigate the risk. So that's working correctly with the accounts, making sure that we have the wealth enhancement piece taken care of. And that ultimately is going to say for each individual account, making sure we have the correct investments to match the level of risk that you want. So you can see how it all is playing down. That we have the economy, we have the investments, we have the wealth enhancement as part of the risk that are in the accounts, and all that comes back to match what you're doing and really looking to preserve, protect, and ultimately grow over time. Now, when it comes back then to saying, how can we do that for you? We can also do that for the ones you care about as well. And that's where we provide a second opinion on what they're doing. And we take them through the process, looking at where they're at today, where they want to go in the future, and then ultimately helping them to map out a plan and a strategy to make that hopefully come to life. So with that, if you know anyone that wants to go through and have a second opinion, really a stress test of their overall wealth plan, we'd be happy to meet. But just know, with volatile times, it will pass, and there'll be great opportunities to come. It's just a matter of timing and patience. So with that, take care.